Hey guys, we're back to part 3. We're going to look at, well, first of all, I wanted to go back here to the simulator, and I just wanted to show you that if I click inside my text field, I can type information, and some of the things that text field automatically do is it automatically gives me all these options to select all, um, select all, paste, etc. So I can cut, paste, look up. So it's a normal things that we see with a field. Okay, so now I'm going to quit simulator. And then there's one more thing I want to do. I want to show you with the text field. And I'm going to go back to storyboard. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you is if you click on the text field here, what we want to do is one more thing. We want to configure the text field keyboard. So we're going to make sure that the text field is still selected. And remember, selected when you see the little handles. And then in the attribute inspector, so we click the attribute inspector, we have text field. We're going to find the field labeled return key. Okay, so we're going to go down. We have background and so I'm going to find return key. So here's some text input traits. Capitalization, a default correction, spell checking, and here's the return key. So on the return key, I'm going to click on it, and instead of having the return key on that keyboard that you see on the screen, I'm going to change it to done. And then the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to select the auto enable return key checkbox. Auto enable return key checkbox right there. And what happens when I do this is that it makes it impossible for the user to tap the done key before typing text into the text field. So basically, it doesn't allow them to press done until they type something. So we don't want an empty string. We want them to actually enter something. So that's going to allow for that to happen. Okay, and we'll run this a little bit again later. Right now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to add a label. So we're going to go back here, and let me move this up so we can do a search. And I'm going to type in label. And then I'm going to, it says label, it's kind of small, a variably sized amount of static text. So static meaning I can't enter a value into it. And I'm going to drag and drop my label right here above my text field. Make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to double click inside my label, and I'm going to change the label name. So for this one, I'm going to call it meal name. And then if you'll notice, I've got meal name here. Notice that I'm looking at the attributes for my label. Okay. And can scroll down and look at all the different attributes for my label. And then, and by the way, this is called, this, no, that's fine. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add my button, which is a UI button or user interface button to the scene. As we know, a button is interactive, so users can tap it to trigger an action, and we have to define what that action is. Later, we're going to create an action to reset the label text to a default value. So you can make, when you have a button, you would code the action of the button. You could say, okay, when the person clicks the button, take whatever they entered and do something with it. Maybe you save it to a file. Maybe you do some calculation. Maybe they click the button and you send data somewhere, like the text message. Maybe they click the button and you play a sound. Whatever it is, that's where you come in to code. You're going to code the action of what that button's going to do. So we're going to go ahead and add our button. So we're going to search button. And we're going to drag and drop it under our label. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to name my button let's see, yeah, set. It's going to have to be bigger. So it's going to be called set default. Sorry, I'm following a script here. Label text. So my button will be there. I can make it just a little bit bigger so that my text is in the middle of my button. Okay. So if we look here on the left-hand side, this is the outline view. In your storyboard, go ahead and find the outline view toggle. So this is the outline view, and then you're going to have this here to toggle. So if you don't see this screen here, just click on the bottom. Notice where my cursor is. I'm going to toggle and open that. So if it's collapsed, you want to go ahead and toggle and view it. The outline view, which appears on the left side of the canvas, provides a hierarchical representation of the objects in your storyboard. So you should be able to see the text field, the label, and the button that you added. So here's our button, here's our label, and here's our field. In general, each scene has its own view hierarchy. So each scene is going to have one of these hierarchies. At the top of each view hierarchy is a content view. The text field, label, and button are subviews. So this is your content view, and then these are your subviews. All other views that you place in this scene will be subviews of this content view. Although each one of these can also be subviews. But right now these are your subviews of this one. So the next thing we want to do is we want to preview our interface. So preview your app periodically to check that everything is looking the way that you expect. You can preview your app interface using the Assistant Editor, which displays a secondary editor side by side with your main one. So on the right hand side, you're going to see these two little circles. That's your Assistant Editor. So we're going to click on that. And if you want more space to work, collapse the Project Navigator and Utility area by clicking the Navigator and Utilities button in the Xcode toolbar. So we're going to click on the first one. I already clicked on that one and got rid of the left hand. Well, no, it hasn't. There we go. And then we're going to click on this one. And we're going to have views there. You can also collapse the outline view, which we did already. In the editor selector bar, which appears at the top of the assistant editor, switch the assistant editor from automatic to preview. So here is this automatic. We're going to switch it to preview main storyboard. Okay. Move this a little bit to the left. So all this is doing is it's showing us what it looks like. And by looking at it, I don't really like my button. I want my button to actually be aligned with the M. And I would like my button to have some kind of background so you can tell that it's a button. But here I'm previewing it, I can see what's going on. And I don't have to actually run and wait for the simulator to open. So as you can see, the preview looks almost identical to the canvas. However, this does not really tell you anything new, but the canvas and the preview are showing the same size and the same orientation. If you want to check to see if your interface is adaptive, you need to preview different size screens and different orientations. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our interface editor, and we're going to fix this here. So I didn't like the way that looked. Okay, so if you look at the button attributes, we can play with these. It says our text color is blue. I'm okay with that. We can add a background image, color image. And let's see what else. Alignment. And background. So here on background, I'm going to go ahead and set my background color to that. All right, so now it's going to align with meal name, and it's going to align with that because you actually get to see the background of my button. And so I can go ahead and get rid of these spaces. click on automatic preview, and I can see what it looks like. If I change the orientation, notice here at the bottom right, I'm going to change the orientation. There we go. So I changed the orientation, so now this is what it looks like if it was landscape. And I can actually run my program, my application. Oh, I had it running earlier, so I'm going to stop. Run it. Getting ahead of myself. So here it says launching food tracker. And we're going to wait for it for the simulator to come up. So we can see our changes. Launching food tracker. Tick tock, tick tock. Okay, let's see what happened here. What happened, but there it is. Okay, so there's the simulator. If I click on enter meal name, and I enter, I want steak. And I click on set default label text. Nothing is going to happen because I have not coded the button. So I haven't told the program what to do. I haven't coded my action, so nothing's happening. But I can see how everything's set. And I can now quit my simulator. I don't know what that error was. I have to look at it a little bit later. So here I'm going to go back to my other view. And in the next part, we're going to actually code the button.